thought I'd give it a quick review. I hate when I see online reviews and they take forever to start, so let's get straight into it. So it's a very, very solid unit. You take it out of the box. The installation I found actually pretty easy, and I'll show you some other bits in a second. But the first thing you notice is how much stronger it is and heavier it is than you think. Taking the telescopic section, which is the main section, out of the box, lifting it up, it's really heavy and probably a bit heavy for some people. But then again, it's extremely solid as a result. You'll see this is the old basketball system here, and this is the new one. The older style is more a larger, wider pole running straight up the centre, whereas this unit here you can see is actually made up of three, what they call the telescopic arm, these three poles. And this is what I was talking about in terms of being very heavy. It's incredibly solid, and I'm shaking it quite solidly there. It's not moving at all. The base here is a lot bigger than you'll see with most units. And I think that obviously helps a lot with regard to the weight. I don't know how many litres in there, but it's a lot of kilograms, obviously. The way that this connects on when you put it together, you have really only 2 bolts on each arm, and in the installation it made quite a bit of sense once you worked it out how to put the pieces together, but it's pretty self-explanatory. The backboard here is, I reckon, a pretty clever design. One of the biggest fears I had was that we live in a very windy area, and I didn't want to wake up in the morning and find that all of a sudden the whole thing had crashed to the ground. That, I hope, well, we had a huge wind the other day. It hasn't moved, and I think it's because obviously there's much less wind resistance. This is over 60 inches in size, but it has holes running the whole way along, except for obviously the main backboard area in the centre for the rebound. Now, the ring itself seems to be pretty high quality, and it's a ring that you can supposedly slam, so which means you can reach over and you can pull back on the unit, and it moves in both directions as well as coming straight down. It also moves left and to the right. The unit also moves up and down without the need for any kind of winding up or pulling out some kind of pin and pushing it back in. It works on a gas strut system. And that was pretty easy. Now, to bring it back down again, if I can just jump in there. So I loosen off the back nut. This is the nut here, turn to release. And this is what matters. Getting it up obviously is easy. I hold onto this section here, and just using my weight, in fact not very much weight at all, I bring it down to whatever position I want. Let's say I want it about here, and I'm able to hold it with just one hand and then tighten it up like this. Just make sure you fully tighten it up, otherwise it can just creep up. There we go. So now in terms of the backboard, if you just take a shot, you'll see pretty much how it responds. So hit the backboard. So the kids love it, and I can't really fault it. It'll be interesting how it sort of copes out here in maybe a year or two, but so far it seems pretty good. The one thing I suggested they may like to do at Vuly is to cover up this section here with some kind of sleeve. This area here is full of oil, and grease rather, which is needed to keep the action nice and smooth. So if you live in an area that's dusty like where we are, you want to make sure that you have this area covered in some way. So just a simple sleeve over the top would be a really good thing to do. That's pretty much it in terms of price. I guess it depends on what price you pay. This unit's actually pretty much the same price as the one next to it, although the difference in manufacture quality is huge. I think this really should be in the area of the premium Spalding. Maybe not quite the Beast, but definitely the premium rate, and they go in Australia for about $1,500. So I think you would expect to pay at least over $1,000 for something like this. I reckon the quality's fantastic.